Okay. Good morning, Deborah. I can't see your face. Let's see. It's already 10 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. You don't have your video on. Can you please turn it on? The state requires us to have videos on if we can. So if you could turn your video on, that'd be nice. We're going to kind of wait just a few more minutes to let everybody kind of connect and come in. Let me share my screen and make sure that's working. Can you see me? Or do you see my Zoom screen?
We can see you.
Okay.
We see you and you're sharing. So did you want to be sharing? Because
I know. So you see this?
yes, the
okay.
first American title rate sheet. Yeah, we see it.
Oh, that's not what we want to see.
Okay.
Let me figure that out. I'm learning Zoom a little bit better every day. Now do you see me and my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, while we're waiting for a few more people to come in, does anybody want to unmute and kind of tell me how they're feeling about the market right now and how they're feeling about rates going up and some of those kinds of things?
I'll just say that on one hand, I think it's getting healthier. It's tricky, but I like the direction it's going. I feel like it's not so crazy like it has been. I do still feel for those first-time home buyers that now is harder than ever. And I see them that they haven't been on the winning end of this.
That's true. I agree. There's certainly people who've been priced out of the market because of the interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody have any idea how much? So a $400,000 loan amount, we were doing this calculation the other day. $400,000 loan amount, which isn't really that much right now, right? It's kind of hard to find anything even around 400,000. So that's the loan amount. If they had a 5% down payment, it would be a little bit higher than that. But anybody have any idea how much money they have to make hourly to be able to qualify for that with zero debt? It's kind of an interesting calculation.
$50 an hour.
A little bit lower than that, but yes, it does feel like nobody can buy anything unless they make a ton of money. It's actually, we figured out $32 an hour. So a couple of years ago, you know, with rates lower and prices still significantly lower, people who are making $20 an hour could still get into something. But that even makes it more like a 2-income home is pretty necessary right now, I feel like, to buy something. So I mean, you can look at it as disheartening, or you can look at it as, okay, everybody has to have a job. I don't know how to look at it better, but anyway, I thought that was a good calculation, and maybe some of you guys might want to write down as you're kind of trying to work with some of your clients, right? $400,000 loan amount, no debt. You got to make at least $32 an hour. So when you're talking with people and, you know, kind of talking about that kind of stuff, I think that's helpful. Okay, we're at 10:05, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll probably have a few stragglers coming, but go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Again, like I said before, if you can turn on your camera, that's one of the things that the state asks us to do, is to make sure everybody's paying attention and here. So if you can turn on your camera, I would sure appreciate it. Another thing I like to tell people at the beginning of my classes is, you know, feel free to unmute, ask questions. I like it to be a little bit more of a discussion than just a lecture. It makes it a little bit more interesting to hear people's stories. So feel free to do that. You can also pop things in the chat, and I try my best to make sure that I look over here every once in a while and make sure that I look at the chat. So just a little bit about me. If you don't, some of you know me and have worked with me before, and some of you don't, but I work at Security Home Mortgage here at the Lehigh branch, and been in the business for a few years now and really like my job. So I really like being able to help people. And in my opinion, you've worked with other lenders, I'm sure, but most lenders can get about the same rate. Most lenders can get have about the same fees. So to stand apart, I really feel like the lenders who are answering their phone and helping your clients and making your clients feel comfortable and making sure they understand what's going on is really what sets lenders apart right now. So that's just my opinion. I'm always happy to answer questions, and I typically answer my phone almost always unless I'm in a meeting, and then I'll call you as soon as I can. So feel free to call me after hours or on the weekends because I feel like that's your most busy time. Wanted to just touch on our Security Plus 10-day business close. I had a couple agents the other day that I've been talking to, and they'd forgotten about this. So I don't know, the market's starting to soften a little bit. Houses are sitting on the market a little bit longer. It's kind of funny to be like, oh my gosh, my house hasn't sold in 10 days. What am I going to do? So that's kind of a weird thing to hear, but I think things are selling still, obviously, and they will continue to, but it's just softened just a tiny bit. I'm not seeing people offer above appraisal or above asking right now, the contracts that I've been getting in the last little while. So that's kind of nice. It gives us all a little bit of a breather. But I'm hearing a little bit that some of these people who are, banking on the fact that their house was going to sell quickly when they're ready for their new build is done, and they're banking on the fact their house is going to sell quickly, it stresses them out a little bit. So we have that kind of that we're juggling. But my 10-day business close, if you don't know what that is, basically I do a full underwrite before they make an offer on the house. And then we've gotten everything done, and all I need to do is get a rush appraisal and rush title docs, and we can close. And I've been really successful with this, especially with FHA and Utah housing. So anytime I have an FHA borrower or a Utah housing borrower, I always put them through the Security Plus because it's just one more thing to help them get under contract when it's a little bit more difficult for them. Then when I call the listing agent, I can say, they're fully approved. You don't need to worry about this borrower. And so that's just something to think about when you're working with some of your borrowers. We can do it on a conventional. It's not as necessary on a conventional. It's a little bit easier to go under contract on a conventional. We don't do it on USDA or VA. Something about our security home mortgage is that we have everything in-house. So we fund our own loans, and we keep a lot of our conventional loans, which is kind of nice. So your clients can call me if they need a mortgage statement or something like that, or they have questions about their payments, they can just call me, and that makes it kind of nice for them. So we keep a lot of those. We do sell our government loans almost always, and we sell our condos most of the time. Okay, so today, I don't know if you've attended one of my classes, but typically what I ask from you, when you registered, you gave me your license number. So if you can just write down my email address, I'm sure most of you have it. Basically, I will give 5 keywords throughout the class, and you need to have 4 of them to get credit. At the end of the class, you'll email me your list of your 5 words, and then I will get your credits banked and make sure that you know that they're banked. So if you don't, if you're looking and your credits aren't banked, make sure you reach out to me. But everybody who sends me an email with their words will get their credits banked. Just admitting somebody else. Okay, so one thing I would like to ask, this is really a fun class to teach. It's a newer class that our company has developed, and I was actually online, and we'll have a slide on this later, but I was online the other day looking at the real estate newsletter that they send out quarterly, and just looking at some of the things, they have kind of a list of shame at the bottom where they have agents and what they've done, their misdemeanors, or however you want to word it. So we'll kind of go over what was on there this last time, but a lot of them are advertising no-nos. And so we thought this would be a good idea to just kind of go over the state laws, RESPA laws, and go over a few things that we just want to make sure that we're always in compliance. So today in our class, we're going to go over, like I said, the Utah state practices and the requirements for advertising. We'll go over gifts and inducements and talk about the differences there. Prohibited conduct as applicable to licensed individuals. We'll talk about RESPA. And when we get to that point, we'll have a few quiz questions to see if anybody knows when RESPA came into being the year and then what it stands for. And then we'll talk about marketing and sponsorship, referral fees, affiliated business arrangements, and then we'll talk about the code of ethics And then the second part of our class that is the 10 steps to succeeding in real estate. And I'm excited about that part as well, and hoping that we can get some good discussion on how we can be more successful. And I feel like there's a parallel between lenders and real estate agents as we try to build our businesses and work with our clients. There's a lot of parallels. So I'm excited to talk to you about that. Okay, let's talk about the state requirements and restrictions for advertising. So before we go there, let's ask a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, if you want to just pop in the chat or you can unmute, how do you feel like on a scale of 1 to 10, is this a good time to be a real estate agent? Where do you feel like you are today on how you feel like about real estate and being an agent? Okay, we have a 9. Right here, you can see it better. 9, okay, good. 8, 10, okay, we're pretty high, good. 8, okay. Anybody, any brave soul willing to unmute and tell me, why do you think it's a good time to be in real estate? 10 from Lindsay. Okay, 8, Dallin is saying 8, that maybe a 6 for newer agents. Okay, is it hard to be a new agent? Those of you who's been in the business for a little while, is it hard to be a new agent? Okay. Okay, anybody want to unmute and just share with us a little bit about why you think it's a good time to be in real estate?
Well, Edyn.
Hi, Coco. How are you?
Hey. Great, thank you. So I feel like as an agent right now, it's a very skills-based market. Like you've got to be skilled. And some of the new agents might not have as much training, so it's going to be harder for them. But for agents that have been in the business for years, for me personally, I've only been in the business full-time 4 years. And so I've only seen, this is all I've seen. You know, and now
we haven't been in this market yet.
Yeah, now we're starting to see this a little bit in the leveling out. I feel like it's a great opportunity because we can tell our client, we can give our clients, there's going to be more options. There's houses aren't going, you know, they're not selling in the first 24 hours. They're sitting on the market a little bit longer. There's more opportunities for them. So for me personally, with my abilities, I'm confident in my abilities. And so I feel like it's a great time to be an agent right now.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else? Before I tell you my opinion. So for lenders and real estate agents right now, are you guys seeing people drop out of the market? Because I'm seeing people drop out of the market. We had a guy in our office quit the other day, and he's been here longer than me. So what about, we're going to talk a little bit later too about mindset, but I would just like to throw something out for you to think about. Whatever you think about it is how it will be for you. So if you think it's a good time to be in real estate, and then it will be, right? And if you don't think it is, then it won't be. So Lindsay, let's look at our chat just real quick. Lindsay says, I love being a landlord. It gives me tax cuts. As a new agent, I feel it's externally hard. Lindsay, do you want to add to that at all?
That's just kind of how I look at it, just how you said the attitude. And I think it's awesome to be an agent if you take a good attitude towards it. But as a landlord, like it doesn't affect you so much just because you're not having to deal with buyers, sellers, you know, trying to fight for a house. But as a newer agent, I would just think it would be extremely hard because you're not familiar with everything. And so it's a good learning experiment, like, you know, time for them to learn. But that's just kind of how I was thinking.
And anything that you're doing as a new person in any business, right? It's going to be a little bit hard, and we'll talk about that too. Ricky, what did you want to add?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. So as a newer agent, I noticed that like right away, I had to get super creative with offers. Like we had to like try, you know, so many different options to get that offer accepted. Whereas when I had talked to older agents, they would talk about how they would like do the traditional way of offering and wouldn't get their offers accepted. And they would immediately be like, okay, I'm giving up. I'm taking a break from real estate because what I'm doing isn't working. And it's like maybe step aside from that, like the traditional way and the normal way of what you're used to doing and, try something new. Does that make sense?
It totally does. And you started when it was a crazy industry, right? Like you were making 20 offers. Like
Right.
you had to make so many offers that you learned really fast, right? Whereas if you're not making as many offers, it takes you a little bit longer to learn. But yeah, I remember talking to you about how many offers you were making and how hard it was as a buyer's agent when you started. So yeah, I appreciate that. Deborah, do you unmuted? Did you want to say something before we move on?
Well, I was just going to say that it's a great time to be an agent, but a difficult time as well. With the internet coming into play, agents are going to have to sell themselves and the information that we provide more so than the housing that we're showing.
Thank you. Okay, somebody else had a comment?
Yeah, Edyn, this is Joel. On your screen, it's showing up
It says
as Marion.
Marion. Yeah.
I'm not Marion. I go by Joel, but that's okay.
Okay, well, good, Joel.
So I've been in this business for a long, long time. And I've always made a distinction between an agent and a realtor. I consider myself a realtor and really not so much as an agent. But I think this is a special market for those that can learn how to educate your client as to what what those feasibilities are as to getting into a home. I know we're not quite there yet, but I don't know if you recall, if anybody's been back in 2007 when we went through all of this again. I think this is a completely different market, what we're looking at right now than we did back then. The investment pool, I think right now isn't as crazy it was back then. And in fact, I have a question for you as a lender. We're not seeing the subprime lending mistakes that we saw back in 2007, which really caused a great deal for new first-time home buyers. What is your feeling about that? Are we headed in that direction again? Because of I know lenders want to keep the money coming in and flowing in, and is that a route that we're looking at again, so that lenders can make their quota and their money again?
Yeah, we're not going to see that kind of lending again. So that's why I always think that, when, like you're saying, this is a totally different market and we're not going to see the problems with lending that we saw in 2008, right? We don't have those stated income loans, right? We have some bank statement loans again and some of those things, but we're not you can't just walk in and say, I make $500,000 a year and get a loan like you could then. So I think that's why this will not be the crash that the 2008 market was. It's not a bubble. We have lots of demand and we don't have the problems with lending that we used to have. So that's a great question. Thanks, Marion.
Joel.
I know, I'm teasing you. Thanks, Joel. Okay, so let's move on. What is the number one thing agents need to know about advertising? If you have one thing that your advertisement needs to include, what is that one really super important thing? Pop it in the chat. You can unmute. Okay, your MLS number. Good.
Brokerage.
Brokerage. Who said that? I can never tell. I can't always tell who's talking. So if I don't know, is that Lindsay?
It was Sherry.
Sherry. Okay. So your brokerage, it has to have your brokerage name. And that's one of the most important things. So we're going to go over here. Name of the brokerage must be clearly and conspicuously shown. So for those of you who have been in the industry for a while, it used to be that there was a size rule and it had to be a certain size of the advertisement. That's no longer the case. They just say clearly and conspicuously shown. So what does that mean to you? Like if you have anytime you have any kind of advertisement, you have to show your brokerage name. Make sure that that's always on there. What about a video? So let's talk for just a minute. Everybody's seen the movie The Incredibles, right? And there's like the kid, his name is Dash. And one of my favorite scenes is when he's with the teacher and he sticks that tack on the teacher's chair. And, he moves so fast that the teacher can't see. It's just a blip. And he's like, I know you did something, but it's just a blip. So we want to make sure that we don't just be the blip, right? We want to make sure that we disclose, we want to make sure the brokerage name is clearly and conspicuously shown on everything that you advertise. How about, like I said, on a video, you just show, do you guys think it should be at the beginning, in the middle, at the end? Where do you think all your brokerage information should be? You can pop it in the chat if you want. You can unmute if you want to talk. We do a lot of videos now with social media, a lot of posts online. So in my opinion, a lot of people in some of the other classes I've done, they'll be like, well, it should be throughout, it should be watermarked throughout. But again, you have to be able to prove if you come under suspicion that it was clearly and conspicuously shown. Now they did come up with a one-click rule. So that next slide, or the next thing, when it's not reasonable for a licensee to identify the name of the brokerage in an electronic advertisement, the licensee shall ensure the electronic advertisement directly links to a display that clearly conspicuously identifies the name of the brokerage. So if you have something that you can't, it's not reasonable to put the licensee on, maybe or the brokerage name on, you have to be able to, when you click on that, it immediately has to go to the brokerage name. So the one-click rule. So keep that in mind. There are some times when the licensee does not have to identify the brokerage. So if the licensee advertises a property not currently listed with the brokerage in which they are affiliated, if the licensee has an ownership interest in the property and the advertisement identifies the name of the individual licensee as owner agent or owner broker. So if you are listing your own property and you make sure that everybody knows that it's an owner agent or owner broker property, then you don't have to list the brokerage name. Any questions on that or experiences with that? Okay, one-click rule, let's see. What about for sale by owners? Is there a brokerage involved?
No.
No, so we're not gonna see a brokerage name, but what about if it's for sale by owner and the owner is an agent?
They have to disclose.
Okay, disclose that you're an owner's agent. One thing, disclose, right? So if at all in question, if you're at all worried about it, the best practice would be to disclose.
Edyn, I have a question on that. I have seen some agents just a couple times, and I don't know that they knew, but they were selling their own home, but they didn't have an owner agent runner on there. So, I mean, how strict are they on that? I mean, my thought was, because I knew the person, I thought, do I go tell them they need to put that on there? Or I don't want to be a Karen either, but also I didn't want them to be in violation of,
Right.
And the house sold very quickly. It was last summer. It sold, within 4 days, but I just wondered how.
So typically you're gonna have, if you're reported, right? If somebody reports you, if somebody doesn't report you, then they're not gonna be able to find out. And so I mean, to me, like, it's hard, right? Because if you know somebody well enough, you could say, hey, did you think about this? You might want to put that on just to be safe. But like you said, you don't want to be a Karen and have people like be offended. But I mean, when we get a little bit lower, we'll show some of the fees that people, when they do get caught, we'll show some of the, we'll show some of the fees for some of the people in this last quarter who have been caught for things. And some of the fees aren't that expensive, right? But you don't want your name on that list. Right? So we will talk about that. Yeah, in my opinion, it's just one of those things that I'd rather be safe than sorry, right? And sometimes that's one of the black eyes of real estate, right? Is that, we have people who aren't following the rules and they give everybody kind of a bad name. So ideally we have everybody following the rules as much as possible. And sometimes people don't know, right? Like you're saying, maybe they don't know. And so I think it's great to be able to help other people. And I would always appreciate if I was doing something and somebody else knew, if they came and said, hey, you might want to be careful with that, right? But not everybody can handle that kind of criticism. So great question. Thanks, Sherry. Okay, so what about teams? If you have a team Sometimes the team name's on there. Is that all that's required, or do you still need to put the brokerage name on there? Because we have a lot of teams in real estate, right? And they have their own name. And so what do you think?
In my experience, you have to put brokerage name still.
Yep. Thanks, Melody said brokerage too. Yep. So you still need to, even if you have a team. So make sure you can put your team name, but just make sure your brokerage name is always on there. The state, basically the reasoning for this, as I understand it, the state wants to be able to know who to contact if there's a problem. So they want to make sure that everybody knows who's responsible if there's a problem. Okay, let's talk about gifts and inducements. Well, let's go through this slide though first, because the name of the brokerage has to be identified. We talked about that. A team or group, we talked about that. The licensee advertises a guaranteed sales plan. The advertisement shall include, in clear and conspicuous manner, a statement that costs and conditions may apply, and information about how to contact the licensee offering the guarantee. Any radio or television advertisement of a guaranteed sales plan shall include a conspicuous statement advertising if any conditions and limitations apply. Can anybody give me an example of that? Guaranteed sales plan. You guys done that? Used it? Seen it?
I've heard one on the radio. Justin Udy guarantees to sell your home in so many days or he'll buy the property. That kind of thing.
Okay.
They do identify that he is with Century 21. I'll have to listen and see if there's a cost and condition on them.
Okay. So make sure if you're going to do something like that, everything is super clear on how that will work out for the person who comes and wants to be a part of that. So I'm going to try to listen the next time I hear something like that on the radio too, and see what they're saying and anything like that. Okay, so that's the state stuff. There's one more, gifts and inducements. Our gifts, okay. Can you as a real estate agent give a gift to a buyer if they use you? Can you give them a big screen? I'll give you a big screen TV if you sign with me. Is that okay?
No.
Okay, we've got some no's.
I say no. You can't say it before the fact. You can't say, I will do this if. And you can't say, also, if you give me a referral, I will give you $250. It has to be something that comes after the fact. They buy the home, they close, and you give them a gift. But you can't use it as almost like a bribe.
Okay, so I totally appreciate your comment, and we're talking, I think, about two different things. So when you say that actually the first one, like you said, you can't request, let's see, John says, yes, if they are the buyer, not for a referral. Okay, which is exactly, there's a distinction. So if you have a buyer and you say, if you sign with me, I will give you whatever, right? You can do that all day long. You can give them whatever you want. And that is legal. You can't ask them for a referral and then give them something for the referral. So you can't give a solicited referral fee. Now you can give them a referral fee. So let's say they come to you and they say, here's my friend and they want to buy a house. You did such a good job for me. I want them to be able to use you. I've recommended you. And later after everything closes, you say, hey, thanks so much for referring your friend. I really appreciate it. Up to $250. It used to only be $50. Now it's $250. Up to $250 value, you can give them a thank you for sending their friend over to you. Now, you can't go to them and say, any referrals you give to me, I will give you a $250 gift card, because now it's solicited, right? You're asking for a referral. Anybody have any questions?
That the challenge in that is, though, once somebody gives you a referral and you give them the $250, that becomes expected, correct?
It could. Yeah, it could, but you're still not soliciting any other referrals.
No, they just do it because they like working with you.
Right. And we like that.
Of course, of course.
Yes. So you have to be careful there though. And I appreciate what you're trying to say, right? You have to be a little bit careful. You can't say, if you do this, I'll give you that. So that's soliciting. Okay. Let's see, then let's go to the next one and read what it actually says. An inducement gift is permissible and is not an illegal sharing of commission if the principal broker or affiliated licensee offering the inducement gift to a buyer or a seller complies with the underwriting guidelines that apply to any loan in the transaction for which the inducement has been offered. So now we're talking about commissions. Can you gift your commissions to your buyer? Melody says yes. John
Yeah.
says yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can you gift your commissions for their down payment?
No.
Okay, we have some no's.
No, you cannot.
No. Okay. So what can your commissions go towards?
Closing costs?
Closing costs. Thank you.
How
Okay.
about repairs?
Yeah, so that's a good question. What do you guys think?
I've made repairs on clients' homes.
Okay. Okay, so repairs aren't down payment. Okay, so yeah, you can, because that can be like, when you made the repairs, was it before the loan closed? I'm just curious, right? Obviously, did something come in that they found something and you said, hey, I'll pay for that for you? Is that how
Yeah.
it was?
It
was
can be either way.
Typically, like if we see any repairs on an addendum, we won't close till they're fixed, right?
Right.
We don't always see them on, I don't like to see them on addendums. I don't want to see any repairs on addendums ever, right? But we want to see purchase price to be, or seller to give these concessions or things like that, because it causes a little bit of issues sometimes. Okay, so yes, you can pay for repairs for your clients, and that's okay. Great.
Home warranty?
Sorry, did you have a question?
No, I said I do a lot of home warranties in this market.
Sure, I do see that a lot too, where the agent pays for the home warranty. Yeah, that's a great gift for your clients. How about a closing gift? Do you guys bring like a basket or something for your clients at closing? And typically, there's not very many lenders I'm hearing that go to their closings. I do try to go to every single one of my closings, because otherwise I don't meet my clients very often anymore. Do most things over the phone and through email. So if at all possible, I try to go to all my closings, and I'll even bring a gift too. So yeah, you can give a gift to your clients at closing. What do you need to worry about though? We talked a little bit about it. Always a closing gift, Alan says. Is there a dollar amount? I said it earlier.
150?
$250.
$250.
$250.
Yeah, so it used to be 50, now it's 250.
I thought it was 150.
It's 250 now, and I don't know how long ago that changed. So
Is that for a closing gift or is that for a referral fee?
I didn't know that.
well, yeah, both.
Eden, I would have to say both on that.
Yeah, I think so too. Mhm. Now, and maybe I'm wrong, but sometimes people say, well, you can do whatever you want for a closing gift, right? So I mean, people aren't going to give thousands of dollars for closing gifts, right? Let's be honest. So you're going to for sure be safe at 250. Okay, let's move on just a little bit, unless somebody has any other questions. Okay. What about lenders? What can lenders do? Can you come to me and say, Edyn, well, it wouldn't happen now, but last year this would happen. So let's use that as an example. Can you come to me and say, Edyn, I have all these people that I've helped that need to refinance now, and the rates are so low. If I have them come to you, will you please give me a referral fee? Can I do that?
I don't think so.
I'm saying no. Melody's saying no. Nope, nope. Okay. It's true. So real estate agents can give lenders a referral fee if it's unsolicited, but lenders cannot give real estate agents a referral fee. So I can't even give you a candy bar and say thank you for a referral. So not 0, 0, 0. So we give gifts to our real estate agents, but I can't have anything to do with any referrals. So I can't expect anything from you. Okay. I wanted to talk, and I missed it, about interested parties. Who are the interested parties in a real estate transaction?
Buyer and seller,
Okay, we've got a buyer and seller. Anybody else?
title companies,
Agents.
Okay. Agents are, yes.
Broker.
Okay. So I'm going to call them part of the agents. The buyers are obviously their own interested party, but the buyers are going to be over here, and then who are their interested parties are going to be the realtor and the seller. So lenders aren't interested parties. But does anybody know, as an interested party, so as a realtor, how much commission can you gift?
how much what?
Commissions or sellers. So sellers and agents, how much can they give to a buyer?
Oh, if
Because we
they're,
talked about you can gift your commissions for closing costs and down payments, but is there a limit?
It depends on the loan. For an FHA loan, a seller can only give up to 3%.
Okay. Anybody agree? It does depend on the loan.
Or 6%. It's either 3% or I can't remember. I think it's 3. If it's FHA.
So you're close, gentlemen. For conventional, it's 3%. For any government loans, it's 6%. So now that's going to be the total. So let's say a seller gifts 3% to the buyer. It's not going to happen right now, but let's just say it does. Can the agent then gift more money? So we're on a conventional loan, 3% is the limit. The agents gift, or the sellers are gifting 3% of their closing costs to go towards closing costs. Can the agent then gift some money? John, you're saying up to 100%. What are you talking about there?
I was saying up to 100% of the commission that they're receiving.
Oh, okay.
As
Okay.
far as gifting back to the buyer, for example, if you're a buyer's agent.
Sure. And on a conventional loan, 3% is the limit, right? So yeah, that would make sense. There's one other thing you have to do. I know I just asked another question, but there's one other thing you have to do to be able to gift your commissions. Do you know what that is? Something you have to give to the lender.
You need to give them escrow instructions from the broker.
Okay. And you have to have a letter from your broker saying it's okay. So it's signed by your broker. Okay, good. So, but back to my other question. If you have the sellers gifting 3%, can an agent gift more?
I wouldn't think so because 3% is the max.
Yep, you're right. So if the sellers have already gifted 3% and the agent still wants to, we would have to reduce the seller's credit to be able to have the agent gift some. So same with the government loans at the 6%. The total from any interested parties is the 6%. Okay, let's give our first word, since we're already 40 minutes in. Let's give our first word as gift.
GIFT.
First word. Sorry, what?
GIFT.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Can I ask a question? What about promissory notes?
Okay. What do we think about promissory notes?
Does that go into that 3%, or can that be because it's a payback out of
Yes. So to me, that's a loan. So I think that's different.
Okay.
Anybody disagree? I haven't seen any promissory notes lately.
No, I don't think you will.
We're in a different market.
Yes.
Okay, so gift is our first word. Just make sure you have 4 out of the 5 words. Okay, what about a finder's fee? So let's say you're an agent in Utah, you have somebody who's moving to California, can you give a finder's fee?
In the real estate world, isn't that what we do with a referral?
Yes.
So I have done that, so I hope that's legal.
That's
You're admitting it to everybody.
Eden, there's a form that can be filled out between your broker and the broker in the other state that is referred to as a referral fee.
Okay,
And generally that's 25%, just commonly.
okay, that's what I understood as well. Now, can it be anything?
You mean any amount of money or any?
Correct. Mhm.
I think that's between you and the referral agent.
That's how I understand it too. So the typical is 25%. That's a normal, but it can be whatever you guys decide. So good. Okay. Okay, we talked about that. Lender can't pay. Let's see. Talked about that. Okay, let's go down. How about, let's see if I go right here. Okay, let's just make sure we went through these. Pay a finder's fee or give any valuable consideration to an unlicensed person or entity for referring a prospect. Okay, so if somebody's not licensed, a licensee may give a gift valued at $250 or less to an individual in appreciation for an unsolicited referral of a prospect. We talked about that. A licensee cannot accept a referral fee from a lender or a mortgage broker. We talked about that too. Okay, now this slide goes without saying, don't lie, don't misrepresent, always be truthful in your advertisements. Now you would think that that would be just easy and obvious, but let's just make sure there's no lies and nothing like that. Okay, let's talk about RESPA. What year did RESPA come out? I have a security home mortgage mug, if anybody can guess that. So whoever gets closest to the date, I will deliver a security home mug to you. Pop in the chat what you think. When did RESPA, let me get a mug so I can show you. They're super cute. They're my cute drop-offs for this month. So now I have to be able to see myself to see if you guys can even see it. Okay. Oh, and it's blurry. Anyway, it's super cute. Let's see what we have in our chat. $1978, Ian, 2010, 1979, 1992, 1974.
1974.
1974, Steve was the first one to put in 1974. Steve, I'm writing your name down. Send me your address and your email. Okay, 1974. Now, does that matter? Not necessarily, it's just kind of fun. Okay, 1974 RESPA. Now, who knows what RESPA stands for? The first two are kind of easy. What does RE stand for? Anybody know? Guess?
Settlement procedures.
Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. Good job, Coco. Steve got it. Angela. Good. Okay. Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. So we're going to talk a little bit about RESPA and what you should know about RESPA. Okay. What kind of exercise is this? I can't hide it. Go to the gym, work out. What is it? Kickback.
If you want to
Okay.
get technical, they're 2-arm kickbacks.
Thank you. Okay, so kickbacks. Now, does kickback have a negative connotation? Right? If you say this, if you walk into somebody's office and you're going to get a kickback for this, I did that one time I was in with an insurance agent and I wasn't meaning it in a negative way. Just like you get some sort of fee if I go with you. But when you use that kickback term, it definitely has a negative connotation. So RESPA prohibits specific practices such as kickbacks, referrals, and unearned fees. For example, Section 8 prohibits any person from giving or receiving something of value in exchange for referrals of a settlement service business. Who's involved in the settlement of your deals?
Title.
Title, okay. They can't give anything and they have to be super careful. So typically you won't see any title companies handing gifts out at settlement, right? They'll get in trouble. Okay, so title companies can't do anything like that. Who else is involved in settlement?
Mortgage.
Mortgage, okay, so lenders can't either, right? So I can't give you a gift tied to settlement. Okay, I can give you a gift, and sometimes I need to be careful because sometimes I'll bring a gift for my agents at the settlement table. You know, this is my drop off, I'm bringing it to you, but probably I should stop doing that, right? Because technically I can't, it could be construed as this has to do with this settlement and I'm giving you a gift because we settled today. So we do have to be careful. And I think most of the time people's minds are in the right place, but we have to make sure that we're not crossing the line ever. Okay. Marketing and sponsorship. Can an agent and a lender go in together on a marketing plan? Can you call me and say, Edyn, I'm working on such and such, whatever it is, and I want you to go in with me? Can I do that?
I see it done. all the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Melanie, you see it done all the time? Jason, yeah, we see it done all the time. Okay. So what are there rules about it? Let's read it. RESPA does not prohibit joint market efforts between a real estate broker and a lender as long as advertising costs paid by each party are related to the value of any goods or services that might be received in return. So what do you typically see? If you've done anything with a lender, what do you typically, like, what's the percentage that the lender pays?
Isn't it supposed to be half? If it's
That's what we typically see, right? Typically we'll see, okay, you pay 50% of it. It does, but when we're reading the RESPA rules, it doesn't say that they have to, it has to be 50-50, although that may have changed. But anyway, most people in their minds, they think of it as it has to be 50-50, but it says each party are related to the value of any goods and services that might be received in return. So let's say you have a card that's going out, a mailer. I've done a couple of those with real estate agents. And I ended up paying 50-50, but our names and logos and everything were about equal on the page. Now, let's say the lenders is really super small, or the real estate agents is really super small. Then you could argue that the lender, whoever's logo is smaller, should pay a smaller percentage. So just be careful. Just try to make it fair and reasonable. What my boss was telling a story the other day about real estate agent office who wanted him to come and rent an office space, just a single office out of their brokerage office space for $4,000 a month in Orem. What's the problem with that?
It's a lot of money.
Now, is that fair market value for a single office? Is that what it's going for?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so either. So that's the second thing. Real estate brokers and lenders are barred from entering into market service agreements where one party charges the other an amount for marketing materials that exceeds the fair market value. So why would we have to have that rule?
So they don't raise the price of something and give you additional money. For their
What were they trying to get the lender to do, right? Come rent this space for $4,000. We'll give you what? I mean, right? Like, it's this whole idea of like trying to hide the fact that you're marketing together and that the lender's paying way more or the agent's paying way more for referrals or whatever. So they're, just avoid the gray areas. And if you're doing something, make sure it's fair market value, that you're not paying in excess of to what the services are provided. Okay, a settlement service provider may not rent space from another settlement service provider unless it's paying fair market value. So obviously people have tried to do that. Okay. Talked about referral fees. What about affiliate mortgage companies? So let's say a brokerage, which happens a lot now, owns a share of a mortgage company. If your brokerage owns a mortgage company, can they require you to use their mortgage company? You have to use our mortgage company.
They can't require you to do it, but I see inducements to do it or disclosures usually with those companies.
So they can give inducements. They can give you inducements, but they can't require you to use them. Okay. Brokers cannot offer referral fees to other brokers for directing clients to their business. Okay, so that sounds like they can't induce you. I said that backwards, right? So they can't say if you use our mortgage company, then I'll give you $500 more off your commission.
So Edyn, why is this such a common thing in when you're walking into model homes with clients where they're basically advertising their lender by giving a different upgrades and things to their home?
So that's a really good question. And the difference is it's a builder. So builders aren't governed by real estate laws. We talked about this in one of my other classes, actually, because there are real estate agents who work for builders, right? So the builder can offer those inducements, but the agent can't. So there's a little bit of a fine line there, right? They have to be a little bit careful. So yeah, it is frustrating to agents sometimes that builders don't have to follow those rules, but they are not under those same rules that agents are. Good question.
What about when you're sitting there and I understand when they say your client must be pre-approved by our lender, but they don't have to use our lender, but then they'll go ahead and they'll say, but your offer's more likely to get accepted if you agree to use our lender, wink, wink.
Yeah, that's not good practice.
Okay.
But if you're talking about a builder, again, they're not required to follow these rules the same way.
No, but their agent that's sitting the model home.
Yeah, so it's not good practices from that agent. I wouldn't think. Anybody agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, Edyn, I'll comment on that a little bit. And I don't know if it's happening as much now as it used to in past years, but there have been several times, and I used to sit model homes as well. And there needs to be a little bit of someone being a little careful, because you'll walk in and you'll see a sign that says, if you're represented by a real estate agent, please check in or sign or fill out this information so we know. And the reason why that's basically asked is because they want to know if you're represented by a real estate agent. So they kind of need to be a little bit careful there. I don't see that as much anymore. And maybe you might have an answer to that. Is that something that's come up to where somebody got in trouble for that? Because I really don't see it that much anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen that that's not one of the ones this quarter anyway, that people are getting in trouble for. Now I go sit at model home with Goldcrest Homes. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're out in Tooele. They're a newer home buyer, and they just do spec homes. So they don't have any, but I'm one of their preferred lenders, right? So somebody comes to me and I say, yeah, you don't have to use me. But for sure, if they want to use somebody else, they don't want to feel like their offer is going to be accepted better if they use me. And so anyway, we do have to be careful. There are a lot of gray areas, I feel like, and sometimes. And so if you're worried at all, you can call the hotline and ask, right? There's an ethics hotline for real estate agents, and you can call and ask, utilize them, because if you've never dealt with it before, if your broker doesn't know, typically people go to their brokers. I hear a lot of agents say, well, let me ask my broker. So you can do that, but you can also call and ask those lawyers. I do a class with one of them, and he's super awesome. So Yeah, so make sure that you know that your broker can't require you to use a certain affiliated mortgage company. Mortgage lenders cannot offer any type of referral incentives to local real estate agents. We talked about that. Melody commented, anytime you have a wink, wink, it sounds shady. I would probably agree. So does somebody else have a question?
I have another question that's not quite related to this.
Okay.
If you're the listing agent, and you know the buyer agent's calling you and saying, "Hey, this is what I can do. What are the sellers wanting?" You know, and they're doing their part to try and get information for their buyer's offer. And if they're saying, "Well, I just don't know if their lender can get it done," or something like unto that, is it okay as the listing agent if you say, "Well, if you know, I think that's a really great lender choice, but I do have a really great lender that you might want to check with too. They might be able to help your buyer." Can you say something like unto that?
Uh-huh. No, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you can recommend lenders. That's not a problem.
Okay.
And you're not saying you have to use, you know, my lender or your offer will be accepted better if you're using this lender or that lender. Yeah, that's okay. Anybody
Just-
disagree?
No, and in
Okay.
fact,
Go
I
ahead.
think in this market, several times I've heard from selling or listing agents that they don't like that they prefer you to put an offer in with someone you've worked with before and know that that lender's going to perform versus, I mean, who knows what else the other lenders are. So I don't know if that's allowed or not, but I know that people have, when sellers agents call, one of the things they want to know sometimes is, have you used that lender before? Are you familiar with them? Have they closed deals for you? I think that gives them the feeling that that's maybe a better lender to go from than someone you don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with asking that.
Okay.
And lenders, you know, I try to call all the listing agents when my agents present an offer. I'll ask them to send me the listing agent's contact so that I can call and talk to them. And then I can, you know, say, I've done all the homework. These are great borrowers. I don't have any concerns. And sometimes that helps make the listing agent feel better. So I feel like that's in the same vein. And listing agents sometimes will, sorry, what, Melanie?
I didn't mean to talk over you. I think that's a really positive thing to do for your buyer's agents.
Yeah, I think it's helpful. It's hard to be a buyer's agent sometimes. And I just think as a lender, it gives the seller's agent, you know, knowledge that you're on top of it, that you care about them, that you want your borrowers to succeed, that you're doing your homework, and it does make them feel better. I also contact the seller's agent throughout the process just to let them know we have the appraisal ordered and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, you definitely probably does make you feel more comfortable when you're working with a lender that you've used before too, because you want the deal to close as much as the sellers do. Okay, we talked a little bit about affiliated business arrangement. Real estate brokers cannot refer business to an affiliated title company without disclosing that relationship to their customers. Now, it used to be the brokerages couldn't have an ownership in title companies, but they can now. They just have to make sure that it's disclosed and that everybody knows that the title company is affiliated with them. This disclosure must detail the charges that the title company requires for its services and the broker's financial interest in the title company. Customers also must be made aware that they're not required to use the title company. Now this, I feel like it's builders, right, that have their own title companies and they're not under the same rules and restrictions. But sometimes it is nice to use the title company the builder uses because they've done so many transactions with that builder. So real estate brokers and title insurance companies cannot create an affiliated company to collect dividends from referrals. So there's that referrals again. Lenders cannot require borrowers to use a particular affiliated settlement service provider. However, they can provide financial incentives to do so. So that's kind of interesting. A home buyer may be able to take advantage of affiliated services at a discounted rate. Who does that? Big company that does that.
Are you
Anybody
thinking
know? I'm
Ivory?
thinking of one big company that does that. They provide financial incentives for the borrowers to use their affiliated company. Excuse
Ivory?
me?
Homie.
Homie. Okay. So yep, Steve said homie too. Now homie's gone through a bunch of layoffs and stuff, but one of the interesting things is they don't do Utah housing. So I have a couple homie agents who have sent me their Utah housings, and the people are actually, they know that they have to pay more to come use me because they can't have the is it the BAC give back that homie does? I think it's called BAC, but they've come over, we've been able to close them in 10 days and they can get under contract. So sometimes that's worth it, but that is legal and that's the company that does it. So anyway, just kind of an interesting fact. Okay, who does RESPA protect and who does it not protect? So we talked a little bit about this because we talked about builders, but RESPA is only for residential loans and residential properties. So RESPA doesn't have anything to do with business, commercial, or agriculture. If you go try to get a commercial loan, do you think your commercial lender is licensed? It's Joe, right? You throw me off still.
No, that's, I used to work for, years and years ago, I worked for JP Morgan Commercial Real Estate. As long as you're under the umbrella of that financial institution, you do not need to be a licensed real estate agent.
So we were talking about, why would that be? And maybe it's just because, they figure if you're in commercial, they expect you to be, take care of yourself, and it's businesses and large corporations and stuff. Whereas residential real estate, we want to make sure that those people who are protected, who don't really have the knowledge about it. And so anyway, kind of an interesting thing. Okay, let's move on to the code of ethics a little bit. Anybody have any other questions before we move on a little bit? Okay, so Melody's saying, I always thought we need to recommend 3. Is that 3 lenders, Melody?
Yeah, like if we recommend, yeah.
Yeah. So I've heard people say that. I can't find anywhere that that's like for sure required, but that's good practice. So you technically can just say who you like to use. You can put 1 at the top. If you like to give, multiple options, that's your prerogative. So, okay. Obviously we want to act ethically, okay? We want to make sure your borrowers know, yours and my borrowers, right, know what's going on and that they have all the information possible. So let's just go through these. Obviously, we need to act ethically at all times. Do not deliberately mislead the owner as to the market value to secure a listing. What does that mean? Do you see people doing that?
Isn't that kind of like lying in a way?
Mm-hmm. So do you see people, go ahead.
I was going to, don't say I can get you $1 million for your home if you list with me when worth 800.
Right, exactly. But do people do that sometimes? Is that ethical? No. So if you know a house is worth 800,000, like you say, then don't go in and try to secure a listing by saying, I'll get you more. Okay. Do not deliberately mislead buyers as to the savings and benefits of their services. Okay. Same idea. I feel like, I can get you more than this is worth. Well, really, if it doesn't appraise, right, then we have a problem. So just make sure that you're not trying to secure listings by saying things that are inaccurate or misleading. Realtors shall avoid exaggeration, misrepresentation, or concealment of pertinent facts relating to the property of the transaction. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. Number 4, realtors shall not acquire an interest in or buy or present offers from themselves, any member of their immediate families, their firms, or any member thereof, or any entity in which they have an ownership interest, without doing what?
Disclosing.
Okay, let's talk about immediate families. What constitutes immediate families?
Husband, wife, kids.
Okay, husband, wife, kids. Anything else?
In-laws, parents.
Okay, parents, in-laws. So kids, in-laws.
I know that brothers and sisters that generation, I don't know if it's required, but I always think it's better if you do.
Brothers and sisters is required. That is immediate family. Now, interestingly enough, grandparents are not considered immediate family. But does it hurt if you disclose?
No.
No. Now, we had a question in one of our other classes where our lady said, what about if you've been living with somebody for a significant amount of time, you're not married? What do you think? So in some states, there's those laws, I can't think of what they're called now, where you're considered married.
Commonwealth.
What's it? Sorry, what?
Commonwealth.
Thank you. Now, does Utah have one?
No.
I was told they don't. Okay, so what technically, let's say you've been living with somebody for 7 years, you didn't get married, fine. Are you required to disclose?
I think it would be good practice too, but I don't think it's required, but I could be wrong.
I agree.
Yeah.
What if,
So, go
what
ahead.
if you're on title though, even as two different entities?
Okay, so if you're on title as the real estate agent with that other person, then you're an interested party and you have to disclose for yourself.
Right.
Okay, but technically, this other person isn't an immediate family member, technically. But like Janelyn said, I think it was Janelyn, good practice, right? It would be good practice. Okay, why do they have this rule? Anybody have any ideas about why you would have this rule about immediate families and disclosing an interest? You think there's any part of people who would otherwise never do anything shady that might feel like they need to for somebody in their immediate family? Could be, right? So we want to make sure that we disclose that, and that's come up because they've had problems with it. Typically, that's where all laws come from. Okay, Article 10, realtor shall not deny equal professional services to any person. Don't discriminate, okay? Doesn't matter what reason, don't discriminate. Okay. Let's see, okay. Realtors shall be honest and truthful in their real estate communications and shall present a true picture of their advertising, marketing, and other representations. The offering of premium prizes, merchandise, discounts, or other inducements to list, sell, purchase, or lease is not in itself unethical, even if receipt of the benefit is contingent on listing, selling, purchasing, or leasing through the realtor making the offer. So we kind of talked about that, right? However, realtors must exercise care and candor in any such advertising or other public or private misrepresentation so that any party interested in receiving or otherwise benefiting from the realtor's offer will have clear, thorough, advanced understanding of all the terms and conditions of the offer. The offering of any inducement to do business is subject to the limitations and restrictions of the state law. Okay, so that's similar to what we've already kind of talked about. So be careful. Make sure everybody understands what's going on. Okay, let's give another word. We're about halfway through. At this point, I typically ask people, the rules of the state require that we have either a 10-minute break per hour, or we can end 20 minutes early. I haven't ever had anybody say they wanted to take a break. So let's go. That's usually what I hear. Okay, great. So let's do another word. Let's have the second word, because we've only done 2 so far. We're going to have to speed up a little bit here. Okay, so we have our first word. The second word, let's have it be inducement. Okay, inducement for the second word. Again, you have to give 4 out of the 5. Okay, how about websites? You guys all have, I'm assuming you all have a website. Let's talk just a little bit about what the rules say. Standard practice for websites. The obligation to present a true picture in the representations to the public includes information presented, provided, or displayed on realtors' websites. Realtors shall use reasonable efforts to ensure that information on their website is current. So let's say that you sold a house. It's still on your website. How long do you have to make sure that that's noted that it's sold?
30 days, I don't know.
I've heard 24 hours.
I was gonna say a day.
Yeah, same with the MLS. So I've heard people, other real estate agents talk a little bit about, somebody calls me and there's a listing. And so this is a little bit different because we're talking about the MLS, but same idea. Somebody calls and says, hey, I'm interested in this listing. And the other agent goes to try to look on the MLS. There's been a sign in somebody's yard for a long time, but they can't find it on the MLS. Is there a problem with that? If you put a sign in somebody's yard to sell their house, what do you need to do? Well, actually, before you put a sign in somebody's yard, what do you need to do?
List it.
List it. Okay, so it should be on the MLS. Okay. So, and then once it sells, can you just leave your sign there in their yard after it's sold? I have some nods, yes. Okay, I have some nods, no.
Under contract, sold.
Sold.
No, you take it down.
Okay, can you leave it if they let you, if you put a sold sign on it?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the problem with not putting a sold sign?
Well, it's misrepresentation.
Okay, sometimes they call it bait and switch, right? So is there something for sale? Not anymore. Okay, but people do that. Why would agents do that? What are they trying to accomplish?
Maybe get clients.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so just be careful with things like that. Let's see, when it becomes apparent that information on a realtor's website is no longer current or accurate, realtors shall promptly take corrective action. A realtor firm website shall disclose the firm's name, state of licensure in a reasonable and readily apparent manner. Websites of realtors and non-member licensees affiliated with the realtor firm shall disclose the firm's name and that realtor or non-member licensee state of licensure. So on your website, you have to have your brokerage name, correct? All the same, it's basically an advertising platform. Okay, so just be careful with that. Okay, here's the part I was telling you about. So this is from, oh shoot, we have one place that I didn't mark it out, but this is online. It's public information. I tried to kind of mark out names, but this is from this quarter's, and I don't know, can you guys see this at the bottom, this website? Okay, that's the website you can go to read the quarterly newsletters from the real estate, realestate.utah.gov/newsletters. But these come out quarterly. So mortgage company entity in Murray in a stipulated order dated February 2nd admitted that it offered a referral promotion to past clients and borrowers in which they would provide $500 gift cards each time the client or borrower referred a new client to the mortgage. And we talked about that, right? Can lenders give any referral fees to anybody? No. Okay, so that's $5,000 fine. Let's see, they should definitely know about that. Okay, a principal broker in Sandy, December, admitted that he represented a buyer in the purchase of a property without first entering into a written agency agreement with the buyer. What's the problem? Right? Do you have to have a buyer agency agreement before you represent a buyer? Yes. Now, do some agents not really, I don't want to tie them down. I don't want them to feel like they have to use me. I don't want to pressure them, right? Technically, you need to, if you're going to represent them, then you need to have a buyer agent agreement. Okay. Another property, he advertised the property at a price lower than his client, the seller, had authorized. So your client is the seller, right? If you're listing a property and you are required to do what they ask you to do. Why would he do that?
No
What are
idea.
agents trying to do when they list things at the lower price?
You mean get clients?
They're trying to get those phone calls and people coming in.
Yeah, and then they know it's going to go higher, but they're trying to get people to come because the price is a little bit lower, right? Now, is that okay if the seller says it's okay? You don't think it's okay? Like if the seller says you can list it lower, is that okay?
It's still not okay.
Well, it depends on
Anybody
why they're
disagree?
lowering the price. If they're lowering the price to sell it and the seller wants to do that, then that's fine.
Yeah, so I think if the seller, like you should be able, must be on the MLS input form. What does that mean, Nicholas? Can you tell me?
Well, that, I would think that that lower price or that lower agreed term would have to be on the MLS or advertised that way.
So you'd either have to cut the price, right? That's what you'd have to have on the MLS. Yeah, sure. Nicholas, is that what you were trying to say?
Well, yeah, the listing agent and their client, that has to be agreed upon and signed in that contract.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so his penalty was $3,000. Okay, let's see. In a stipulated order, February 22nd, he admitted that he placed an advertisement identifying a property for sale. The advertisement was misleading in that it implied a home was offered for sale by owner at a specific list price when he was actually attempting to solicit customers for a financial restoration business. And then the address was the United States Postal Office. So that's for sure, no, right? Let's see, in Clinton, Utah, the visitor issued a citation for advertising real estate services without clearly identifying the affiliated brokerage. Now that's what we were talking about. It's a small fine, $150. It's not really about the fine. It's, you don't want to be on here. Advertising her real estate services on a website without clearly identifying. There's 2 and then 3. So there are 3 of those on here. So be careful with your advertising. Do the best that you can to follow the rules. If you're worried, put your brokerage on there. Always put your brokerage on there. Always follow the rules. And like I said, you can always call. Okay, just a reminder, let's do another word. Brokerage. Always put your brokerage name on all your advertising. Brokerage for our 3rd word. And then just remember, you need to email me your 5 words by the end of class. Okay, that ends our advertising section. I'm excited about this next section. We only have about 20 minutes, but I'm going to kind of go through it quickly. This is a part that we put together, just how to be successful as an agent, and just kind of give you some ideas about how you can be successful. Very parallel again to how lenders are successful. I feel like there's a lot of parallels. And so let's jump in and see how much we can get through. Everybody, you can put in the chat or unmute. What is your definition of success as an agent? For you to be successful, what has to happen? What is your definition of success? Pop it in the chat, unmute. Christopher has a question. If you put advertising on your car, do you need your brokerage on it? Yes. Anywhere you advertise, because there's no way to click, right? There's no way to go to something else. So yeah, I would put your brokerage. Anybody disagree with that? Sorry. The way I read the law, your brokerage has to be on any advertisement and it has to be clearly readable. Okay. What was my question? Definition of success. Okay, gentlemen, getting cascading deals. Okay, lots of deals. Anybody else? Money, money, money. Is that our only definition of success?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, right? You want lots of deals, lots of money. Helping people.
Edyn, I would say that it would have to be the whole process, getting the client, going through the process, making sure they're happy, making sure all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, making sure you're not in any violation with any, with all the things that could take place. I mean, it can be kind of a little bit of, I don't want to say anxiety, but there's got to be a checklist and balances to make sure that we're successful. Because if we list a home or get clients and we don't follow through till the end and it goes south, then we're not successful because they're not going to want to use us and they're not going to want to refer us.
Correct.
My
South deal.
definition.
Yes, I agree. Thanks, Sherry. A deal that goes south, at least for me, is way worse than any. I mean, I never want that to happen, right? Because that's going to cause a lot It's going to undo a lot of the efforts that I'm trying to do. And who wants to work with a lender that their deals go south? Nobody, right? So yeah, and who wants to work with a real estate agent who their deals go south, right? So yeah, we definitely want to be super careful.
Well, and I've even told my agents as far as if we get to a point, even though we have a buyer broker agency and that brokerage does own it, if they don't want to work with me, I know legally my brokerage says, no, you own that contract. We own it. It is yours. I've always told them I'll release them because it's my reputation is more important to me than staying in a situation where they're not happy. I'd rather lose the money, walk away than stay in it just for the commission. My own personal.
That shows a level of confidence too. And we're going to talk about confidence too. Thank you. Okay, let's look at some of these. Melody says, Jonathan says getting cascading deals. Melody helping people get what they want and what is best for them. Good. Happy clients, Jonathan says. The deals don't mean anything if they aren't happy. I would agree. Now, do you have some Karens that are out there? No matter what you do? Okay. I was sitting in on another class that my boss was teaching with another one of our loan officers, and somebody said that. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have Karens. And he was like, I don't know what that term is. So I had to email him a little explanation of what a Karen is. I thought that was funny. Okay, success, Dallin. Success is doing your job well and having happy clients. Good. Reaching individual set goals, Steve. Getting to the close. Good. Helping your clients reach their goals. Okay, so now that's great, right? Everybody has to figure out what their definition of success is. Now, what's your definition of failure? When do you fail as a real estate agent? Melody, when you lie. Good. Is it the worst thing in the world to fail sometimes?
No.
Okay, good. When you give up and stop working. Good, gentlemen. Hopefully you're just failing forward. I like that. I haven't heard it that way. Lose your clients' earnest money. Okay, Angela, that's a huge one. Never want that to happen. When you forget your fiduciary duty means, Cindy, good. Not achieving the client's goals. Okay, these are all great. And I want to kind of focus on the quitting. As we go through some of these success points, there's going to be failures. I think Michael Jordan even, like, we always talk about Michael Jordan. He's so successful, but like he talks about sometimes how many shots he misses, right? How many missed game second shots, how many this, how many that, right? We all fail. And I think it's Muhammad Ali. There's a saying in our office, you only fail when you don't get up. So in my mind, you only fail when you quit. Okay, now, why do agents succeed? Some succeed and some not, right? You're going to see a lot of people kind of fleeing the market a little bit right now. We're seeing it in lending and in with agents. I think it's a great time to be in the business. Those people who can't cut it are going to leave. But why do they succeed? Some succeed and not succeed. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Okay, success theory, that we have 10 laws that we've developed just in our company that we feel like is super helpful for real estate agents. And I want to talk a little bit about the success formula. Can anybody just guess? What do you think F, R, and C stand for? Any guesses?
I'm guessing the C is commitment.
Okay.
Or consistency.
Okay.
Um,
So consistency, it is consistency and, confidence. Thank you. We've added that confidence. Okay, R and F, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, unless anybody has a guess real quick.
I was gonna guess C for conversations, but
Oh, that's good too. And we can add things to these, right? So you can add some to it too. But we've come up with frequency. Sorry, did somebody else say something? Frequency times reach times consistency.
What was the middle one?
Frequency times reach.
Reach.
times consistency, and we've added confidence lately. Now, your success is going to be directly tied to the frequency that you reach out to people, how many people you reach out to, and how consistent you are. Okay, that's our success formula that we've established. Now, quickly, what we actually polled 1,600 people of our former clients, sent them a poll, and we asked them, when you bought your house, how did you find your real estate agent? What percentage do you think said from somebody you know, referred by somebody you know, or somebody you'd worked with before? What percent do you think said that? Pop it in the chat. %, 75%, 60%, 90%. Okay, we actually came up with 85%. Okay. What is your most valuable asset as a real estate agent? From that statistic,
SOI.
yes. Okay. Your database is going to be your most valuable asset. Okay. Because that's how people are picking agents. Now, it was really low. Social media was really low. Right? Doesn't mean that you don't want a social media presence, that you don't need to be on social media, but your database, your SOI is going to be your most valuable resource. So you need to be frequently reaching out to them and keep growing your database so it gets bigger and bigger, right? Your reach, and then be consistent. Now, I was walking my dog with my daughter last night, and I'm building a house in Lehigh. I'm crazy. I tore my house down after my divorce, and I'm building a brand new house in the same spot. But I like to walk by there every day. She's like, Mom, you've seen it 3 times. We have to walk by. But we walked around the corner, and there was a guy that was selling his house. And the agent, the listing agent, was a friend of mine that I work with. I didn't even know he was selling his house, number one. I probably haven't reached out to that agent recently. Number two, I said to him, he's like, where are you living? And I said, well, I'm living over in the townhomes just around the corner while my house is being built. This friend of ours owns this townhouse, and he's also a loan officer. And he said, oh, he's doing my loan. Whose fault is that?
Yours.
Right? He's like, I didn't even know you were a loan officer. Okay. So there's lots of people that even if you talk to them, they might forget, and somebody else comes up to them and says, hey, I'm an agent, I can help you, So make sure you're reaching out to people frequently and consistently. Okay. Success formula we have about 12 minutes, but the success formula, we have 10 steps. And I'm going to kind of go through this quickly. If you guys want me to email this PowerPoint to you, I'm happy to do that. You just let me know when you send your email. Step number 1 we have is a coach. Employ a coach or accountability partner to help you get there faster and more efficiently. Maybe some of you have paid lots of money. There's some that are big bucks. Everybody needs a coach. Step 2, clarity. Clearly define your goal and have clarity. So you need to know where you want to go. Step 3, correct mindset. Now, I think this could be one of the most important ones. Like we talked about at the beginning, if you think this is the worst time to be an agent, it's going to be for you. If you think this is the best time to be an agent, it's going to be for you. Whatever you decide, it's going to happen. Systems. Number 4, clearly plan the systems on how you're going to achieve your goals. So you have to know where you're going, and you have to figure out some systems that can get you there. Systems that can help you reach out frequently. Systems that can help you be consistent. Then build the habits that go with that. You have to build habits that go along that support your system so that you know what to do on a daily basis. You have to break that down. We can't just say, I want 20 deals this year. Okay. And then nothing. You have to know how we're going to get those 20 deals. What am I going to do? What are the daily things that I'm going to do that oftentimes are not calling my name loudly? There's all tons of other things that are calling my name, but what are the things I need to make sure I get done today that will get me to my goal? Habits. Okay, so then increase your skill set. Train to outwork everyone. People who are successful are willing to do the things that other people aren't willing to do. Lose the stories that are holding you back. How many people are like, okay, well, I didn't get my stuff done today. Well, I had this and somebody was sick and I had a doctor's appointment and I just couldn't get everything done. Or I have too many deals and I'm busy. Right? If you don't market today, if you have 5 deals this month and you don't make time for marketing still, are you going to have 5 deals next month? Right? So make sure even when you're busy with deals, you make time for marketing. Massive focused action, daily power hour. Now we're going to talk a lot about this one, or hopefully have time to talk a little bit about it. But power hour is super important, and power hour can be an hour. If you're not busy or you're a newer agent, you might want to make your power hour 3 hours. There's a real estate brokerage in Provo, and they have 3-hour required power hour every day. And if you want to interrupt somebody from their power hour, you better have a $100 bill in your hand. Okay. And what they're doing during that power hour is calling people, contacting people, finding new people. Okay. So that's something that we have to do. Now, does it help to do that once a month? Is that going to make the difference? If you brush your teeth once a month, is that enough? If you
Better than nothing.
I would agree with that. If you work out once a month, is that enough? If you want to get in shape? Okay.
Depends on your goal.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said depends on your goal.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. Then our step 9 is tweak, analyze, tweak, and improve. Constantly need to be improving. If we're stagnant, that's not going to work. So if something's not working, figure out why. That's another reason why you have a coach, so they can help you. And then step 10, which is one thing that some of us talked about in failure, don't quit. Okay. You only fail when you give up. Okay. We're going to skip a couple of these, but I want to talk a little bit about a coach or an accountability partner. How many of you have paid to have a coach? There's a lot of expensive, I don't know, $800 a month, $300 a month. I'm hearing when I'm talking to people, super expensive accountability coach for real estate agents, right? They make their money coaching real estate agents. They've been successful and now they coach. Has anybody paid big bucks for a coach? Has anybody had a coach, even if it was a free coach? Sherry, okay. Can you just tell us quickly about that? Was it helpful to you? Was it when you were first starting out?
It was. I was transitioning. I did real estate years ago with new construction. And then I was going back into new construction and I got my license again. So don't ever let your license lapse, because I never thought I'd get back into real estate. Sorry, I'll make this quick, but I didn't know what to do. I was in new construction. Me and the builder parted ways because I found out a bunch of stuff that I didn't support. So we parted ways and I didn't know what to do with my license then, because I was prepared to sit at model homes and I didn't know that I wanted to go back and do that. And then I switched my license over to a brokerage that took me under their wing and just said, get in and learn as much as you can. And they assigned a coach to me, which I really loved. Like I felt like I got in, I learned, they mentored me, they took me out, they showed me how to knock doors. It was amazing. And I felt like it gave me the confidence to go forward and do what I needed to do, because it gave me also the information that I needed to do what I needed to do, because I didn't know what I didn't know till I got with that coach.
Good.
And he was awesome.
Good. So that's what I'm hearing from some people. Some people have brokerages that help a lot, and some people have brokerages that are just like, okay, go find some deals, right? So no matter what kind of a brokerage you're with, and Christopher just said he does, and he has worked with a coach and it's helped a lot too. So you know, the magic happens with these coaches. So we talk a little bit about Michael Jordan again, and I can't remember the coach's name. Let's see if it's in this slide. Anyway, there was a coach that wanted to help the Bulls when Michael Jordan was kind of at his peak. He was he sent a letter to everybody on the Bulls team. I want to help you. I want to make your game better. And he didn't get one to Michael Jordan because he thought he doesn't need my help. And the only person that called him back was Michael Jordan. And he found a letter from somebody else that was just on the floor, thrown away. And they had a really good team and worked together for a long time. And so my only point there is, no matter where you are in your business, you can benefit from an accountability partner. And if you're interested in something like that, I am a licensed coach and we do help, and we don't charge anything for it. So we've developed a business to help real estate agents and help coach them and be an accountability partner. Sometimes you just need an accountability partner. You know what to do, you're just not doing it. So let me know if you're interested in that. But get a coach or an accountability partner. I've heard of agents helping each other. So 2 agents who are friends, be each other's accountability partner. Make sure you get the things done that you need to do. Make sure you have clarity, clearly define your goals. So write that down today when you're sitting around. Do I have my goals clearly defined? What do I want? How many deals do I want to do this year? How many calls am I going to make? Okay. Make sure that your goals are defined. Correct mindset. The truly successful are going to have a burning passion, unstoppable drive. They're going to know their why. They're going to have a super important to them reason for succeeding. And I was gonna say I have actually had a coach myself. My broker, I don't know if you call him a broker, but my branch manager. When I started, and I don't know if anybody cares, but my story was a couple years ago I got a divorce, and I have an accounting degree and was working part-time as an accountant, but as a stay-at-home mom most of my adult life. And when I came on, I didn't have a lot of sales experience. There's probably a lot of real estate agents that don't have a lot of sales experience when they first start. But my branch manager was my coach. We'd meet once a week. He said, if you do what I tell you to do, you'll be successful. And I did what he told me to do and have been super successful. And I super appreciate his willingness to help me. And and it's a motto that I like to live by, and I would encourage you to think about. We rise to the top as we help others rise to the top. So you rise, the idea of stepping on people and stuff is super uncomfortable to me. And as we help there's plenty of business out there. As we help each other, we'll all rise to the top. Nicholas says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I love that. It's great. Okay, so you need to know why you're doing this. And for me, my why, if you care to know, is I want to be able to help my kids. My dad had to co-sign on a loan for me to even be able to keep my house when I got divorced. I don't want anybody to ever feel as desperate as I felt. And I want to be able to help people be able to realize their dreams. So that's my goal and that's my why. And that's what drives me to make my dreams come true. Now, your why is going to be different, but make sure you know what that is, because there's going to be hard times that come and rough markets that come, and you're going to need that why to get you through that when you come up against a wall. Okay, we're almost done. We have 3 minutes. This is super cool. I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but when you start out on something, and even if you're starting a new exercise program, whatever you're starting, here you are down here, and your objective, your goal is up here. Now, our wish would be that it just goes like this, straight up, no curves, everything's fine, right? And that's what we want. But in actuality, you have uninformed optimism, right? You're all excited. Maybe you've experienced this as real estate agents. You're all excited. Things are kind of going okay. You're doing all that stuff that you're supposed to be doing. You're doing your power hour. Here you are, 3 months later, you don't have a deal. Things haven't quite worked out the way you thought they would. And then you have informed pessimism and you drop down here and you have this moment of crisis. Now you can give up and go somewhere else and do something else. Lots of people do. Or you can be part of the 1%ers and decide, you know what, I'm going to keep doing what I know will make things different. I'm going to keep doing what I know I want to do. I'm going to keep doing those things. And pretty soon, here we go. We go up again, come down sometimes, right? We have some market changes. We maybe didn't do as many phone calls as we thought we would. And then here we go up again. And eventually you're going to get up to your goal. It's not a straight shot. You have some ups and downs, but you're going to make it to your goal and your objective. So I really like that idea. Don't give up here. This is just when you're going to start taking off, right? So anyway, we have systems. We're out of time with systems. Build your habits. Make sure that you have habits that will help you. We have a whole class about this, and during our coaching, we talk a little bit more about this if you're interested. So let me know. Don't have excuses. Everybody has things. Everybody has things. Doesn't mean they're not real, but don't let them hold you back. Massive focused action. Make sure you're doing everything you can. Okay, I think we're out of time. Super happy that you guys came. I hope you learned something. If you take nothing from this class, just remember that you can do it, that make sure you are super careful with your advertising. Be honest and make sure, I mean, if I can do this and be successful, anybody can, right? There's nothing special about me, right? I just decided that there was something I wanted to do and I was going to do it. So decide there's something you want to do, get that goal out there and make sure, oh, here we are. We only have 3 words. You're right. We only have 3 keywords. Okay, the 4th word is just do it. 2 words. Where did I write my words down? Just do it for the 4th word. Sorry. I got all caught up in our class. Just do it. Okay, let me go back to my email, Nicholas. Let's see. Right here. There's my email. Make sure you send them my email, the words. Welcome. Okay, you guys are so awesome. Any other questions? I'm happy to stay on for a few minutes if people have questions, but thank you so much for coming to the class. Make sure you email me so I can get you the credit. Oh, 5th word. Sorry. What do we want? Make it Edyn. My name, Edyn.
Thank you so much.
You're
Nice
welcome.
meeting-
Thank you for coming to the class. This is a fun class. I really appreciate it. You're welcome. Bye. Have a good day. Call me if you need me.
Will do.